Hello, everyone. We're so glad that you're here today. We're so excited to see the different people that have joined us today from all around, especially on this special week. What's special for a lot of educators this week, Adam?
Read Across America.
That's right, Read Across America. We want to thank all of our educators for all of the hard work you do to help our students read and love reading. And so you're definitely a superstar when it comes to that. In today's training, we're going to show you how you can become a PBIS Rewards superstar. And we're going to share some tips and tricks for teachers and educators. So if you're just joining us live, make sure that you do share with us where you're from in the chat. So hi, everybody. My name is India Williams, and I'm one of the professional development educators here at PBIS Rewards. I love what I do, and I love who I do it with, not just the people that we train, but also the people I get to train with. And I'm with one of my favorite people on the whole planet, Adam.
Woo, woo, woo. Hello, everyone. Like India, I'm a professional development educator here with PBIS Rewards. India didn't tell you where she's from, but she's from Evansville, Indiana. Since we asked you guys where you're from, we're going to share with you where we're from as well. And I am from Fayetteville, the Fayetteville, North Carolina area. I currently reside in Charlotte, North Carolina. India and I both have a pretty extensive background in education. And we have both used PBIS Rewards in our schools. So by all means, if you have any questions throughout this training today, feel free to kind of chime in or ask, and we will answer those to the best of our knowledge and ability. And I'm going to turn it over and let's go over some expectations for you guys. Now, just like in your schools, you should always kind of review your expectations with your students and make sure that they understand what you're looking for. And we kind of model that in our trainings as well. So these are expectations for you. We keep it pretty simple: be respectful, be responsible, and be safe. So, keep your microphone muted when you're not sharing. Try to attend our sessions and be active with us. As far as being responsible, try to silence your other devices. Keep PBIS Rewards content up on your screen. We are aware that other things might be distracting or come across your desk, and we certainly understand that, but let's just try to be here and present and get what we can out of this training today. And then last but not least, let's be safe. So we're going to share relevant information. By all means, we can share it with the trainers, or we can share it in the chat. And then if you feel more comfortable, we'll be happy to share anything that you send us privately to share out to the group. And above all, please, please, please do not be afraid to ask questions. That is what we are here for. India and I love getting questions from our users and just working on finding a resolution for you. So by all means, if you feel stuck or you have something that's just pressing on your mind, there's a small group of us here today, so feel free to unmute and just ask your question. Or again, if you are more comfortable, you can just throw it in the chat and we will get to it at our earliest convenience. And again, this is what we call the parking lot. It's just our Zoom chat, nothing fancy there, just a cute little way we like to kind of word it. So again, if you have questions, throw it in the parking lot and we will get right to it. So we're going to start today with a little quote: creating a positive climate in which every student can learn and grow. That is our PBIS Rewards mission statement. And by all means, that is pretty comparable to the missions across every campus that involves the implementation of PBIS with fidelity. And so, we really hope that as we go through this training today, and we're going to dive into some of what we're going to call our top 10 tricks and tips for you guys. So we're going to start with ARS, and that's just our advanced referral system. So there's three big elements, and you're going to see that that's kind of how this is organized today. You're going to see 3 or 4 little facts about each one of these different components. So the first component we want to start with is, as I said, ARS. So this is what we're going to use to help drive the decisions that you're making as a PBIS team, or maybe even your school improvement team could utilize some of the data that you're generating from these reports to kind of drive organizational change as well. We want you to know that everything about ARS is customizable in the system, from the locations to, exactly what behaviors you have defined as a staff. And so all of that is completely customizable within the system. And one of my favorite things, and I told you I come from an administrative background, and one of my favorite things here is that it's completely digital. No longer do people have to turn in a piece of paper to the front office or have somebody walk down with the student who was just unruly. That is all done digitally, and it really helps for the administrator, because then the administrator gets the notification that there's an alert that something's happening on campus. And based on what you kind of put in that short referral, they know whether they need to come to your room to assist with the behavior that's going on, or if you've got things in check. And at that point, they would just kind of handle the disciplinary actions that follow. So let's look at this. This is just a little summary of kind of what it looks like from an admin side. And here you can see all the referrals that have taken place in the school. If you take notice, when you're in the system, you can hover over these little bars, and the bar, it'll tell you exactly what percentage that is, or exactly how many students this is. But again, your PBIS team can take all of this information here, and I love that it gives you a visual so you can really see that data and use that data when you have those PBIS team meetings to talk about maybe some things that you need to do as a school to improve the behaviors that your students are exhibiting on a day-to-day basis, and kind of get rid of those undesired behaviors. So looking here, we're only going to look at a couple of these and then move on. But I want you to see we're getting a lot more major referrals than we are minor referrals. And, a way that I like to kind of describe this to my staff is, major referrals are office managed behaviors. Those are things that you always are going to send to the office with a referral. Those minor referrals, those what I like to call classroom managed behaviors. Those are things that you can handle right there in the classroom. And of course, you can make a rule in the system that a certain amount of minor referrals can become a major referral. Because, if we have little Susie, and little Susie's giving me minor problems several times throughout the day, that could certainly can contribute to the behavior of our other students. So that's just one little area I want to show you here. And then I want you to see this next area right here where it says major referrals by location. And looking here, you can see that we have one area that has a lot more referrals than others. So there are many variables that go into that, and you have to consider the variables really. For example, students are spending, I hope, more time in the classroom than they are in the hallway. So that's going to contribute a little bit to why there are so many in the classroom. But that could also be a big indicator that maybe you need to do some classroom management training with your whole staff to really help them get a handle of what they need to be doing on a day-to-day basis, as far as getting some routines in place and practicing those routines and reviewing those expectations with students every single day. I did tell you a moment ago that everything is customizable in the system. And so we kind of want to give you a little taste of exactly how that works. So if you're in the system on the left-hand side there's an option that says settings. And if you click on that option, there's another there that says ARS, or Advanced Referral System. And from there, you can really come in here and customize anything in the system. So here you see that you can customize your locations. You can press that plus button and add any new locations that we might not already have listed there for you. And then of course you can mark them active or inactive, or using these three little dots, you can move them up or down depending. So we always tell people, we're aware most people have a hard copy of a referral. It is super simple to take that hard copy of the referral and put it into the system just as you have it on that referral, so that it's not confusing, and it really just helps your teachers to transfer from that hard copy to this digital format. Down here, you're going to see those problem behaviors. Again, I cannot stress enough exactly how important it is to define those behaviors as a PBIS team, and then to make sure that your staff really understands what those behaviors are. So, you have to be careful when you say, okay, everyone, we're going to respect others. What does respect look like? Because what that looks like for me might be very different for India. So it's important to have that conversation so that you all get on one page as far as what respect looks like as a staff. And then, of course, on the right-hand side of that screen, you're going to see that you can name your major referrals or minor referrals. As I said before, you could call this office managed and this classroom managed. But of course, you can leave it major and minor if you like. A lot of what you're seeing here on our screen right now is what the system comes defaulted for you. So whether you want to customize that or not is entirely up to you and your PBIS team.
All right. Well, Adam shared with you number 10. If you really want to be a PBIS Rewards superstar, consider using ARS. And as he said, that is the only add-on feature, okay? So that is one that you do have to pay an additional fee for. Currently, that is an additional $350 for you to add on to the system. But everything else on the list of how you can be the PBIS Rewards superstar are already included in the base price of the product. So number 9 is check in, check out, okay? Some people call it Chico or, whatever, but it's check in, check out. And as you know, this is definitely an intervention that many people use for students who might need a little bit more than the general, student body might need. They need a little bit more to help them, meet goals and expectations. And so this intervention is definitely used for students on the tier 2 as well as tier 3 students. And so many of you may have already been familiar with this particular option. Maybe you're doing it now in your school or organization, and you're doing it on a piece of paper. Just like Adam said before, this is taking it to the next level, you all, because with this, you can still have the beauty of the check-in, check-out intervention or system, but it's completely digital. It's so efficient. You can do this on both the staff web portal and the staff app. So no matter where you are on campus, or even if you're not on campus, you're able to do check-in, check-out digitally. It can't fly out the bus window. It can't get lost in the hallway. The dog can't eat it. You'll have all of that information ready right there for you to be able to use whenever you need to help the student be successful. The other thing is that we will show you how you can go in as a school and create a list of applicable goals, a list of goals to choose from where you can really narrow in on the expectations that the particular students need to work on as a goal on their check-in, check-out plan. And then finally, it's such a great feature because it's giving you trackable data every time that you're using it. So not only are you using the system, you're able to collect data that you can then go back and be able to decide what's worked and what hasn't worked for particular students or just with the whole entire process.
And guys, just so you know, you can certainly use the data that you generate from check-in, check-out to assist with creating a functional or getting a functional behavior assessment done so that you can get a BIP in place for a child to show what interventions you have tried. And then again, like India just said, now you've got that trackable data that follows that student so that you can utilize that as well.
Absolutely. And the great thing about this particular feature, admin can turn it on or turn it off. So if your school is not using check-in, check-out, or something you're not quite ready for to manage digitally, admin can go into settings and just turn it off. And then when you all are ready to utilize it as a school campus, they can turn it on, okay? And that can be done in settings. So if you are a teacher that's using the check-in, check-out to be able to rate your student who's on a check-in, check-out plan, you're going to simply click on check-in, check-out teacher on the left-hand side main menu in the staff web portal. If you are a coach and you're starting a plan or you're checking a student in, checking a student out on their plan, you're going to click on check-in, check-out coach right there on that left-hand side menu. Now that's how you do it with the staff web portal, but guess what? You can also do it on the go with the staff app. Same steps. You're going to go to that main menu. If you're a teacher rating a student, click on check-in, check-out teacher. And if you're a coach, click on check-in, check-out coach to get the process going. And like we said before, you are getting so many reports that you can see, particularly if you are an admin with those admin permissions. You're going to see, I mean, gosh, Adam, I'm just going to have to actually pull it up and read some of these. There's so many of them. There's literally about 10 different reports that you can get. There's one that's going to show you like how many students do you currently have in check-in, check-out. You can look at the average percentage of days or number of days that the students have been on a check-in, check-out plan. There's a user guide to show you what all these reports are and how you can use them. There's also one that talks about the plan by tiers, okay? And then it also is one that talks about the check-in, check-out plans per month. It tracks the number of active plans going on per month, okay? And there's a lot of other additional reports, such as a student goal tracking report, the check-in, check-out point goal trends, class period trends, teacher check-ins, which even shows the average number of points that teachers are rewarding to their students that happen to be on check-in, check-out plans. I mean, if you want to see some data about check-in, check-out, we got a report for you, we promise. So if you really want to be a superstar when it comes to using PBIS rewards, consider using check-in, check-out if it's something that you're already doing to help your students be successful.
And while India's mentioning these little reports that you see on the bottom here, I think it's important to note when she said something about you can see how many points teachers are giving to your students in check-in, check-out. We just want to be very clear with you that check-in, check-out points do not become points that students can use to redeem items, right? So when you do a check-in, check-out, it's really just kind of a behavioral report card for the student that follows them throughout the day and kind of shares that information with the parents at home.
Absolutely. And so we also want to talk a little bit about how you can set this up, okay? So once again, if you are an admin who has admin permissions, you can go into settings and then you'll see like a circle with a check mark in it. And that's for check-in, check-out options. This is where you go to set it up. This is also where you go to turn it off or turn it on. You can see up there in the upper left where it says active. If you have that, turned on, it's active. If you then click that box to turn it off, it's no longer active at that time. You can decide the maximum number of goals that you would like for a student to be able to have. You can also decide if you want the rating scale for the teachers when they're rating the students and how they're meeting their goals on their plan, if you want it to be 1, 2, 3 or 0, 1, 2. The system is defaulted at 1, 2, 3 because we personally feel that if a student's even on a plan and trying their best, they should get a point for that. But your school can do whatever works best for your school. And we also talked about how your school can create that list of applicable goals, okay? So there is a section where it says check in, check out goals. That is where you can put your own goals, edit those goals, delete them if you want to delete them. You can decide just which ones you want to be required, like every student on a plan needs to always follow. You can also make them active or inactive. So really, we try to give you all the things you need to be successful with managing your check-in, check-out digitally with PBIS Rewards.
All right, so now let's talk a little bit about SEL. So that's that social emotional learning component that's become so important over the last couple of years, especially with all of the pandemic craziness that's been going on. A lot of people were really concerned about, well, what's going on with my students while they're at home? And, especially as we're seeing more and more schools kind of taking on that work from home and learn from home kind of approach to education. So we do want you to know that this is for staff and for students, this SEL component. So one part there is that staff members can easily go into the system, and we'll show you this in just a moment, but staff members can go in the system and they can provide a rating for students on their general SEL, how they're feeling, what are they looking like based on some information that you provide when you customize that SEL component in your settings. So this is available through the web portal and through the app. As I said, that is for both teachers and for students. So your students can go on their student app and they can complete a self-SEL check-in, which is just them kind of letting you know how they feel based on, the list of this is what it looks like and this is how I feel today. It is completely customizable with like anything in our system. You can go in, you can change the way that looks. I think the system comes defaulted right now, unless there's been a change. There should be angry, stressed, and calm are the three approaches. I always like to tell people that I added a component for my school that was happy because I hope that my students are feeling happy when they come into school. So by all means, feel free to change that up any way you feel the need to do so. And then last but not least, the data drill down for interventions. It really kind of helps you to see what's going on with students. So for example, if India comes in every day and we do a check-in at the beginning of every single day and India is always angry in the morning, that lets me know that there's something that's happening at home that is probably getting to her behavior or contributing to her behavior that we're seeing at the beginning of the day, especially if you have a child that's always kind of angry or stressed when they first get to school, and you notice as you go and trickle through your day that the student kind of becomes calm or happy. It lets you know that maybe that's something that's happening at home, and it gives you an opportunity to really have a conversation with that child. And we tell people all the time, you know, one of the great components of PBIS rewards is that it helps to build that relationship between teacher and student. And so this is one way that we really kind of help you to dive in and do that. Because again, if you look at that data, all it is having a conversation with the student to say, I noticed that you've been a little angry when we start school. Is there something that's happening at home that you want to talk about? And maybe they don't want to talk about it, but at least that lets them know that you care enough to ask. And maybe one day when they do need to talk to someone, they will come to you and share with you exactly how they're feeling. So as I said before, that cell check can be done from teachers from this teacher web portal. And as you can see here, we've got a class up here. Cell check is always going to be that heart with the check mark inside of it, because we want to know how our baby's feeling on a day-to-day basis. And so when you click right here on this little heart with the check, it's going to populate and show you those 3 defaulted items. Again, if you have 5 statuses listed in your school, it's going to show you all of those right here. And then you just select which one kind of matches that specific student. So in this case, we're looking at Victoria Chavez. And if I need a little bit of clarification as to what does stressed mean, what does angry mean, you can always click on that cell guide and it'll give you a little bit of a description as to what your staff has said stress looks like and angry looks like. Same thing from the student app as well. When students pull that up and they can look at a cell guide, and I want to tell you that that's in more of their jargon. And by all means, feel free, you know, if you're a kindergarten through 2nd grade school, I'd never heard of that before in my life until recently. And there was a school that was a K2 school. And so, you know, they were really big on putting emojis in those descriptions because kids can relate with that a lot more than they can words sometimes at that level. So by all means, customize this to fit the needs of your school. And then last but not least, we do want you to see here that it does show you from the the staff app, that when the last action was done, what their last check-in was. So if I'm trying to give a rating here for Lou Jackson, I can always just click inside that box there where it says new cell check and give him a new check at that day right then. You can also see when the last cell check was completed. So you might want to try to get in the habit of using that on a day-to-day basis. It is common practice to kind of do that in the mornings, right after morning announcements. If you're an administrator, you can most certainly remind your staff at that time, hey guys, get your cell checks done today. And so that's something that kind of pushes it for your students as well. I also told you that we could customize this in your settings. So I want to show you kind of how that looks. Again, from the settings screen, if you find that heart with the check, again, that lets you know it's anything cell. And then you can come in here and a lot of this is customizable. You can change the order here on the side. You can make these active or inactive in the same way India told you, either make the check mark appear or take the check mark away. And then of course you can change the color and the emojis that kind of follow those as well. You can add new cell statuses right here very quickly and easily. And then of course, these are those visible emotions. So this is what your staff is listening for and what they're looking for from your students. And then of course, you also have this component of data that we keep talking about. And anything that's happening in your school should be data driven, everything. So again, when you look here, you can run a report. You can customize the date range here or the students if you want a high frequency list. Or if you just want to look at specific students, maybe in your homeroom or your grade level, it gives you that option to kind of filter those there. Now, if I were to click down here, you can see that I have Samantha Harrell. If I click down here, it's going to pull up specific reports for that one student. You could also access that from the student dashboard, but it's super easy to do it right from this screen. Here we can see that this particular student here has been angry in almost every time they checked in. So that lets you know, again, like I was saying before, maybe there's something happening at home, maybe there's something happening at school, but whatever the case may be, this data shows you that there is a need for a conversation to be had between that teacher and that student, or maybe even a counselor or an administrator and that student. The next section we want to talk about are reports. So again, I keep stressing the importance of those data-driven decisions. Guys, that makes things so much better in your school when you really understand how to look at data and use that data to make organizational change. So there's varied levels of access, and we're going to show you both areas of access there in just a moment. You have the admin level of access. Of course, they have access to everything and anything going on within your school. And then you have a staff access, which is a little bit less. I do want to say, administrators, if you have some staff members on your campus that you feel like should have admin rights, you can certainly give them admin rights in the system so that they could be of assistance and pull some of these reports. So like department chairs, for example, it might be a good idea to give them access to those reports. So when they're meeting as teams or in PLCs, they can look at those reports with the people they work with to say, okay, maybe we need to drive this a little bit more. We need to push these concepts. It's also got a drill down feature. And what that means is that it really lets you kind of isolate where the problems are happening so that you can create a plan to alter those occurrences. And then last but not least, you have that student dashboard there as well, where you get some information on each specific student. So let's start talking about that admin level of access. So this is what it looks like if you're an administrator when you kind of come in. Of course, you could come down to referral reports and look at all of that information. But it really kind of, like, as I said before, lets you dive into specific elements. So if you want to see what kind of points are being rewarded or awarded in your school, you can always come here. If you want to look at the intervention components that are going on or redeeming components, all of that is there for you. Of course, you have your favorites list over here, and you simply, all you do to make something a favorite or one of these reports a favorite is by pressing that little star, and you can remove that by clicking that star again. So if you want to make it a favorite, you'll click the star, it'll turn orange, and then it will always be housed right here for you. You can also look here. Again, I love the visual components of the data that we provide in PBIS Rewards. If you look here, just at first glance, I hope you can see that sixth grade has not given out any points. So that lets me know as an administrator, I need to talk to my sixth grade team about rewarding more points to their students. And maybe they need a little bit more training on how to use the system because they're not using the system effectively right now. On the contrary, seventh grade here is blowing it out of the water. And maybe it will be a good idea for you to say, well, look, seventh grade's got a decent handle on this. Why don't we take our seventh grade team and partner them up with members of our sixth grade and eighth grade teams to help them really figure out how to give these points out and see what they're doing in their classrooms as well. You also have a staff level of access. As I said before, it's going to be a lot less than what administrators see because as a staff member or as a teacher, your primary focus isn't the entire school. It should be focused more on just your classroom and how you can use your day and your instruction to drive those PBIS rewards components in the classroom. So again, just like I said before, you have the visuals here that really help you see what kind of structures are in place and what's working for you as a teacher. And of course, if you looked here and you saw like, okay, right now I can see that as a teacher, I've given out a lot more respect points than I have safety points. So I might want to brainstorm some ways that I could give out some points for safety for my students. So for right now, for example, all kids are wearing masks in school. They're social distancing. They have this plexiglass around them, So if students are wearing their mask and you don't have to get on to them about keeping their mask on or social distancing, that is a great time to really, you give them some safety points. It also might be an opportunity for you to address somebody on the PBIS team and say, hey, can you give me some ideas of how I can reward students points for safety because I'm not doing so well with that right now. So this kind of gives you something that you can share with that person to really dive in. Again, we talked about this student dashboard, and this is going to lead us right to that here in just a second. But I want you to see here We have a lot of behavior issues right now in building rules. So what that means is we need to spend some more time reviewing our rules with our students, and really make sure that our staff members are giving them an opportunity to practice some of the procedural things that go on throughout the day that'll help curtail some of the discipline, the referrals that are coming into the office. As you can see, this is here, but it also has, if you notice, there's a little hyperlink down here at the bottom where you see that number. You can click on that. And when you click on that, it's going to tell you a breakdown of exactly what students have been referred to the front office, what's happened, and it just gives you a general gist about what's happened there. Of course, you can click on the individual students. And when you click on the individual student, it'll pull up that student's dashboard, as I said before. And here you can see what interventions are there, and there are drop downs for each of these that lets you know who has been awarding the student points, what interventions have we tried for this specific student, and what referrals has that child received. All of that right there in the system for you. And as always, there's that visual component that really kind of just drives that home and shows this is what your students have been doing. And again, you can see these time frequencies and everything there for you. And then, of course, down here at the bottom, this is just showing you what staff members have submitted referrals and things of that nature.
Ooh, Adam, we're getting so close to getting halfway through our list of things to help you be a PBIS Rewards superstar. Number 6 is communication. You know, so many schools, in order to have all the different things that we need, we oftentimes have to use several different systems. That's really not the case if you're using PBIS Rewards, because guess what? You can communicate with your families, the families of the students, right from PBIS Rewards. Yes. And the great thing is you can do that from the web portal for staff and the app. You can also give the family members a QR code to give them access to the parent app for PBIS Rewards. And the great thing is this is an easy, quick way for you to share insights with the parents, caregivers, guardians, family members of all of your students. And the great thing is not only can you do it, it's easy to do, right? So if you are in the staff web portal, the first thing you're going to do is go to that left-hand side menu and you're going to click on parent link. Once you do that, you'll see that there's options for you to start a new message to a parent or several parents or to a whole classroom full of family members. And you can also see where you can look at your inbox and see other messages that have already kind of been on a thread. And then if you're ready to be able to get those QR codes we were talking about to give your parents access to the parent app, you're going to click on that Manage Parents button. And the great thing is, not only can you do this messaging or communication with the staff web portal, you can also do it with the staff app. Yes, you will see that if you are someone with admin permissions, not only can you send messages to just parents, you could also send them to the school. So make school announcements. Yet anyone, as far as staff members are concerned, can message back and forth with the family members right there from the staff app. And so part of this, as we said, it's just wonderful to be able to keep the caregivers, the parents in the loop. We wanted to show you an example of the letter that you are able to generate when you click on that Manage Parents button in the staff web portal. That letter is customizable. You can edit it to say whatever you need it to say. We have the basic letter in both English and Spanish within the web portal for the staff, but it has that QR code right there ready. So you could generate these letters for the whole school at one time, for a classroom, for one particular student and their family. But this is how you can easily give them access to the parent app and all of their student or students' information. And we also wanted you to kind of see what that looks like, okay? So that's what the image is over there to the right. You'll see that they can see the balance for that student, how many points do they have? They can see how many points they have for the day, for the period, for the year. They can also see that message area, and they will have notifications as well for new messages that have come through. They can see the point details, referrals if you are using our ARS system. items that the student has purchased. They can see upcoming events and events that the student is registered for. So this is a great way to keep parents in the loop. The other thing is they can click on that point details. And if your school is utilizing a feature where you can add comments when you are giving students points, parents will be able to see the comments that are associated with the points that are given. So this is a great way for them to not only know what points their child has earned, but also why those points were earned.
All right, so jumping into number 5, and this is one of my favorites, guys. We want to talk to you a little bit about workplace rewards for teachers or teacher rewards. So this is just pretty much taking PBIS rewards, what you were doing for your students. We gamify behavior for our students to make it a little bit more fun, to show those desired behaviors, those expectations that we have in our matrix. This does the same thing. It gamifies the expectations for your staff members and allows them to get points either from the administrator or from other staff members right within PBIS rewards. And so there are 3 basic things we want to kind of talk to you about here. First and foremost, give your teachers the feels. You know, most educators did not go into education for a huge paycheck. Across the whole country, that's pretty standard that teachers are not making the best money in the world. So most of us really came into this because of our passion, the passion we have for either our content area or the passion we might have for our students. So find a way to give those teachers the feels, to really bring them in. And that might be by giving them some points. It might be by just having a conversation. It might be, you know, pushing around a cart on Fridays that says, "Aren't you glad it's Friday?" and giving them an option of several different orange items. But whatever you're doing, you want to make sure that you're giving those staff members a moment where they feel appreciated and they feel rewarded as well. You know, it's hard to ask someone to do something all day long when we're not doing anything for them. So we want them to feel that this program is successful. And another thing that helps with is the overall fidelity of this in your school. If a teacher is feeling good getting points in teacher rewards, then they are certainly more apt to give those points to students in their classrooms. As I said before, it gives you an opportunity to request or recommend points. And what that means is I can request points from the administrator for me. So like, let's say last night was a basketball game at school and I stayed late and helped clean up after, you know, I could request those points and say, I stayed yesterday and I helped coach India after the basketball game. You know, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe India can go in and she can make a recommendation and say, look, administrators, yesterday when everyone left, Adam stayed and he really helped me to clean the gym and get it ready for instruction today. So there are options there. And then just like with students, they can we can reward them the points or reward them things in PBIS rewards. Very similar to that. The staff can redeem those options for things in the school store for staff members. So in there, you can put things like leaving a few minutes early, maybe a duty-free lunch. Jeans Day is probably the most popular thing we see across the spectrum there, but get creative. We also have a list of teacher incentives, and we call it the ultimate list of teacher incentives. That you can, and we'll throw that in the chat for you. India, take care of that here for you in just a second. And we'll also try to put that in a follow-up email to you guys as well. So in here, it goes right back to giving them the feels. Let them know that you appreciate what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. Another thing here, don't be scared to post what's going on. Most of us, especially after the pandemic, we all have a Facebook page or some kind of a website or something that we're using. Utilize that to really brag on your teachers and give everyone an opportunity to kind of have their moment to shine. You know, if you want to do that based on department or you want to do that based on grade level, or just do that as a PBIS team. But remember, everyone likes to be acknowledged for their hard work. So when you have someone on your staff that's really pushing the envelope, let them know that you're seeing that, either by giving them those recommendations or by posting that in a social media platform. Teacher rewards can be accessed pretty easily right on the left-hand side there. If you click on teacher rewards, it will open up a new window completely for you. So don't feel like, oh no, I've got to stay there. It will open in a new window because we're aware most people are using PBIS rewards all day long. And if you're like me, when I was a teacher in the classroom, that tab never closed during my school day. And we're hoping that you're one of those people. But this will open this in a new tab. And as you can see right up here at the top, if I wanted to recommend India, I could simply click on recommend, type her name in there, figure out which one of these core values she's meeting. So if in the example we gave a moment ago, maybe India helped me instead of me helping India, in which case I can give her a point there and saying that that's teamwork, right? That's working together, even though it really doesn't pertain to India. She had nothing to do with the basketball game. The other option you have available here, it says request. That's when you're requesting points for yourself. So if I wore my PBIS rewards shirt today, I could go in and ask for points, right? India is wearing her, so she can certainly do that today as well. Then the last thing here is this redeem queue. So just like with your students, they can go in and they can redeem their points and purchase things in the school store. We have a store here for teachers as well. Now, there are also other options, just like in PBIS rewards, you have events and raffles or drawings if you're on the West Coast. You have those options available for you as well. But one thing that's a little bit different in teacher rewards is that we have an option for auctions. And so something that we suggest, maybe you can collect donations throughout the year and from either your community or local businesses, and then take those items that you get from those donations, and let's say around Christmas time or maybe the end of the school year for you guys, it'd be a great idea to host an auction and put all of those items up there and let your staff members bid on the items they want to utilize their points that they've earned in teacher rewards. And you'll be so surprised at how much local businesses would be willing to donate to you, and just tell them, look, we're teachers, we need some stuff, right? And a lot of times they are really, really quick to kind of help with that. We also have a letter that we give out, usually for students to, for you to use to stock your student store. But by all means, you can edit that document and utilize that to get some items for you to use for teacher rewards as well.
Oh my gosh, Adam, we have made it over halfway through our list of ways that you can truly be super stars when it comes to, just for you, Adam, when it comes to PBIS rewards. And number 4 is badges. They help you to reward any student, anywhere, anytime, right? We love them. Now, can you order them from our company? Absolutely. We will make badges that you can use with our system, particularly with our staff app, to acknowledge your students with points. We can make that for you. We can do it for a small fee. We can do on lanyards for an additional fee. And guess what? You don't have to do that if you don't want to, because you can customize and print your own badges right from the PBIS Rewards staff web portal. Yet we love badges, whichever way you decide to do it, because they truly do foster positive relationships. In order to use the badge and to use the app on a mobile device, you got to look at that student. You got to talk to the student. You have to say, may I, use your badge to give you these points. So it truly creates a one-on-one face-to-face conversation when you're using the badge. The great thing is we also have a feature. You may have 1 or 2 or 10 students who always lose everything. They're like my son, who's a middle schooler, loses everything. The great thing is we now have a digital badge feature, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that later. And then also, we're going to talk to you about how you can actually add photos right from your device. And actually, Adam's going to go into that probably a little bit later when we talk about groups, but that is definitely another wonderful thing about badges. So what we love is, like we said, right from the web portal for the staff, that left-hand main menu, click on ID badges. And we are telling you, if Avery makes a label layout for it, we've got that layout in the system. So like we said, you can go in, you can decide the layout of how you want the information to be. And the great thing is, if you want to print that info out on plastic and make your own plastic, very traditional badges, that is just fine. But we also want to remind you that you can print this information off on just about anything. You can print it off on labels. You can print it off on paper, cardboard, cardstock. You can print it on basically anything you want. And with that, we want to encourage you to, yes, utilize badges, but utilize the ID badge feature to think outside the badge. Yes. So when you think about it this way, that you can print the information off on anything, we've seen schools all around the world using this in just phenomenal ways. For example, if you are a one-to-one school regarding devices, you can print this information off on little mailings or shipping labels, put them right there on the device, the computer or tablet that the student might use. And while they're following the expectations, you take your mobile device, you open up the PBIS Rewards staff app, and you just make it rain points while the students are following those expectations by scanning that QR code or that information that you placed onto the device. You can also do this with agenda books and do it with folders as well. When students are turning in assignments and they're turning in homework, you can just, once again, take your mobile device, take the app, scan that label or sticker right there, and you can give them points for completing their assignments and homework in just easy, fast ways. And then finally, another way we've seen a lot of schools use this feature is if students are in a brick and mortar setting and they sit in particular places in the classroom, they just put that information right there on the table where the student sits or the desk. Once again, they scan the information with the PBIS Rewards staff app and acknowledge the students with points for following expectations. It's just a great way for you to be able to use this feature to make giving points easy and fast, which we love, right? And we have another feature we talked about, which is the digital badge. And this is where students can open up the student app, and there's a button towards the bottom that says My Digital Badge. They can click on that button and they have a digital badge right there with them from their mobile device. It could be the school tablet, school iPad, and for older students who may be able to have their phone at particular times, they can pull it up from the app and you can scan it just like it was another badge. So this comes in handy for those students who are like my son at home who lose everything. And we now are to number 3, you all. So number 3, if you want to be a superstar, we want to tell you, you have to use the system for redeeming the points that the students have worked so hard to earn. And there's 3 ways that you can redeem those points and manage them within the system. That's raffles. And we put it number 1 because Adam, that's kind of one of our favorites, right? The raffles. Stores and events. So whatever way that your school or ways that your school has decided to allow students to redeem the points that they work so hard to earn, you can manage it right there within the PBIS Rewards system. And if we have time, which it looks like we might be getting a little short, we'd love to go live in the system for you to show you some of those. And I would say, Adam, if we have time, we need to do raffles. That's our favorite, right, buddy?
100% agree.
And so now we're to number 2. We are to number 2, you all. We are getting there to that number 1. Number 2 is rewarding. If you have the PBIS reward system, you cannot be a superstar unless you are using the system for rewarding. This is truly the first step to success with the system, as well as when you also think about PBIS. We have to acknowledge when they follow the expectations. My school, Adam's school in the past, we've been where they had the little paper tokens and all these things that took so much to manage. Yet now you can do it all digitally with the app or the web portal, and any staff member, anytime, anywhere can reward any student within the school. And then also just the flexibility of being able to use this system to acknowledge the students with points in a digital platform. Truly, rewarding through PBIS Rewards is the first step to success when acknowledging the students for following expectations. But Adam, woo, you got to tell us, what is the number 1 thing we need to use within PBIS Rewards to be a superstar? What is it? Any guesses?
What do you think, guys? Anybody? Any guesses?
Put it in the chat, you all, whatever your guess is.
By all means, number 1 feature is groups. So we tell people all the time, if you want to stay in the loop, you got to stay in the group. So rewarding and redeeming and all of that kind of all comes together, but you can do every bit of that right from the groups tab. And so we really hope to kind of dive in and show you exactly how that works. So of course, this is available to you from the staff app or through the web portal. any staff member, as we said before, can reward any student anytime. So one thing I want to point out to you, since we talked about rewarding a moment ago, we get a lot of people that ask us, well, what do why do we do this? Why are we rewarding people? There's a lot of rewarding that happens extrinsically and also intrinsically, because I want you to realize that we go to work, and what are we rewarded for going to work? By all means we are, because we get a paycheck, right? Or when you do that shopping at Harris Teeter or whatnot, you're rewarded by getting gas off. So there's always those elements there. And again, with this group feature, we want you to know this is a one-stop shop for teachers. Really, you can go there and anything in the system that you need to do can be accessed right from groups. So let's dive in a little bit and see how we can do this. So step one here, if I want to go into, if I open up my group, any group that you have, and then once you open that group, if you'll click on settings up in the top right, and then from there, you want to select edit group. So when you do that, guys, now the system allows you to add a picture for your group. So let's say, maybe you have 3 different classes during the day, and maybe they have an animal theme, and first period are your tigers, and second period are your crows, or whatever the case may be. You can easily come in here and add a picture there. You might even want to, maybe you took a class photo at the beginning of the year. You could even throw your class photo in there so that would show up and populate with your group when you pull that up every day. We also want you to know, up until recently, guys, you've had to always go through that, through settings to kind of do a photo upload. Now you can come down here at the bottom once you click edit groups, and then click on these little, the little photo box right here. And when you click on that, it'll let you upload a photo. Now, if you do that from your mobile device, guys, I want you to know it will let you take a photo right then of the student, and it'll come right up into their card. Now, I do want you to know that if you change the students' photos here, that is going to also change the photo on their digital badge. And if you print an ID badge from the system, it will print with whatever the newest photos that has been added. So I do want to caution you that as you change those photos, that is something that's happening. All right, looking back at that groups page again, I want to show you the redeem queue. So we told you a moment ago that there was a lot you could do from groups. So again, this is the general groups page here. If I click up here at the top where it says menu, that's going to show me my redeem queue. So again, up at the top, that's my store, my raffles, my events. Those are events that I've got just for my classroom, right? Down below that, you have your school store, your school events, and your school raffles. But nonetheless, if I want to create one of those events, or if I want to look at how to redeem one of those events, it is super simple. You just click on store. So for example, from here, I could click on store. And if I click on store, this is what I'm going to see. So you can see here are items that I can check out for students. It also gives me an option up here at the top now that I can add an item right there from the groups page. So if you've been a PBIS Rewards user for some time, you know that is a relatively new concept. Up until 2022, in order for you to add an item, you had to go to the store and add the item there from the store screen instead of adding it right here from groups. So now, for sure, if you want to stay in the loop, guys, stay in that group. In the same capacity, you have the adding of events here and adding raffles. And of course, you can see what items or what events are available for you here and what raffles are available for you just below that as well. So again, guys, those are our top 3 features: redeeming, rewarding, and groups. I'm going to let India walk you guys through our top 10 really quickly again. India?
So here they are. We're going to be like the old school Dave Letterman and start with number 10. Number 10, ARS. 9, check in, check out. 8, social emotional learning check-ins. 7, reports and more reports. 6, communication. 5, workplace rewards, Adam's favorite. 4, badges. 3, redeeming, all 3 ways. And number 2, rewarding. But number 1, if you want to stay in the loop, what do they do, Adam?
Stay in the group.
Stay in the group. All right. And so now you may be saying, what now? What's next? I know how to be a superstar. I know what features to use, but I may forget after today's training. No worries. We got you covered to cover yourself with the brand new and improved support site. Yes, we just had kind of a makeover with our support site. Its site is beautiful, it's colorful, it's easy to use, it's helpful. Please go to support.pbisrewards.com. You can also access it by clicking on the help button from the staff web portal in the upper right. Once you're there, articles. You can look at videos. You can also chat with Jill and everybody else that we have on our fantastic support team. You can contact them in any way if you need any help. So please, you can support yourself by utilizing our support page at support.pbisrewards.com. We also want to remind you to check our training calendar frequently, okay? The address is right there. We'll put it in the chat as well, pbisrewards.com/training/calendar/ Most of those trainings are free. You can also sign up for office hours, which is 20 minutes with at least 2 of the trainers, y'all, to talk about anything you want, PBIS or PBIS Rewards. And we are so excited, just in case you haven't heard, okay, on the streets, that PBIS Con 2022 is coming up. Yes, so June 13th and 14th, we will be having this year's all virtual conference. We'd love to have you be there. Adam, I think registration opens Monday, right?
That is correct. It goes live Monday.
Absolutely. So we're looking at $50, which is a steal to be able to participate in our conference. It's phenomenal. Great keynote speakers. We're not going to say all of them, but you can go to that, keep looking at that little link there. Adam put it in the chat, and you can see who are some of the phenomenal people that we have that are coming to be a part of this conference. We also want you to know that there is actually a reduced price available to those that attended last year for a certain amount of time. So if you did attend last year's conference, please take a look at your mail that comes from PBIS Rewards. You can go to this link as well and find out that, yes, you can have a little bit of a discount if you attended last year's as well. And then we also want you to know, if you consider yourself a PBIS and or PBIS Rewards expert, we're making a call right now for proposals. If you would love to be a presenter, maybe you and maybe a staff member, a friend would like to even do it together, we'd love for you to come and be one of our presenters. So you can also at that link be able to click on call for proposals and put in a proposal to be a presenter. We'd love for you to present at PBIS Con 22.
All right. And then guys, if you're looking for a way to collaborate with schools across the nation and even the world, we have some schools in Australia and Canada. And then we have a Middle Eastern country, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Guys, if you're looking for a way to connect, I'm telling you, join this break room, because in this break room, we collaborate with educators all over the world, and they're really dropping in. I can say, well, guys, how do I make, what are some things I can give to my teachers to make teacher rewards work? And the suggestions that you get from these people that are successfully implementing PBIS in their schools or utilizing PBIS rewards in their schools, they can really help you. A lot of times we don't even have to, all the trainers are a part of that break room, and we by far and large go in and answer those questions for people. But a lot of times before we even get to it, one of our other users has already chimed in and gave the answer. So it's a really great place to kind of have community for PBIS rewards. So if you're looking for something like that, by all means, click on that link that India shared with you there, or take a picture of that QR code and join us. There's going to be 3 questions. We do have to tell you that you have to answer all 3 of those questions, or you might get a denial. But we encourage you, if you get a denial, to just resubmit and make sure that you answer all 3 of those questions for us, and we'll be happy to get you in there so you too can start collaborating with PBIS Reward superstars across the nation. And last but not least, our time has come to an end, guys. We hate to say goodbye to you, but we do want to thank you so much for taking out time to be with us today. As we said before, we look forward to seeing you guys in upcoming trainings from that training calendar or from our office hours. And if nothing else, guys, please join us at PBIS Con 2022, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.